Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jen Trepic, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. This week, we're talking about Velveeta. Now, hear me out on this because I also agree that it is sort of wild that we are having this conversation. So I am on the side of the internet where I am fed recipes and absurd recipes. Now, if you are on Instagram or TikTok, you've probably seen them. You've probably seen me react to them. And there's one that I will post today when this goes live that has a giant brick of Velveeta in it. And I was shocked that this was even still sold. And it made me curious to look at what was in it. So also, funny sidebar story about Velveeta. When I was in college, I was at the business school at the University of Michigan. I was interviewing with Kraft, who makes Velveeta. And one of the interview questions was like, what would you do if you had a warehouse full of Velveeta that was going to expire in a month? And first of all, I don't remember what my answer was. I do know I did not get a second interview. But I think that's a good thing. I don't think Kraft and I would be friends. So it's fine. Anyway, it also strikes me that like the premise of that entire question is problematic because I'm pretty sure Velveeta doesn't expire. But I don't really know that for a fact. That's just a whole other kind of thing. So, okay, this recipe that I saw that made me curious about Velveeta, it was a giant block that went into the oven for like 30 to 45 minutes. It came out and it still looked like a block. I mean, then the woman like kind of mixed it up and it wasn't a brick still underneath, but I was dumbfounded. So I needed to go look at what was in Velveeta. So I went to their website to see what was there. First thing I looked at, so the marketing calls it a cheese block for melting and contains real milk. So the part that I think I have to like give some respect is that it also says sometimes the unnecessary is necessary. So at least they are acknowledging this, that like there is an absurdity to this product, right? Like maybe there is some awareness there. Okay. So then I went to the nutrition facts. I started with the original formula. A serving size is 1 ounce, but I was honestly like shooketh to my core because the size of the block in this recipe, I think, was the 32 ounce size. I know your eyes. So it comes in 8 ounces, 16 ounces, or 32 ounce blocks. So, okay, a 1 ounce serving has 70 calories, 4 grams of fat, of which there's 1 gram of saturated fat, then 3 grams of carbs, of which there's 0 grams of fiber, 2 grams of total sugar, none of which were added sugar, and then finally 4 grams of protein. Normally, I don't point this out, but I can't ignore it here. That 1 ounce has 390 milligrams of sodium, which is a little less than like a quarter of a teaspoon of salt, which is actually a lot of salt. Okay. Then it has 230 milligrams of calcium, which I would prefer calcium from other sources, but that's a conversation for another day that many of you all know if you listen to Salad with a Side of Fries often. So as we talk about all the time, the nutrition facts are not necessarily the whole story, right? And again, calories don't tell us the whole story. It's what the calories are made of. So essentially what we see here from what we know so far is that we have like salted fat with a little bit of protein in it, right? Then the other part that I'm considering is the fact that like nobody is eating 1 ounce at a time of this.
Right.
And I think this is going to add up very quickly. But I'm still stuck on the shape and consistency of the situation. So let's look at the ingredients. This is the normal full fat version. Ingredients are skim milk, canola oil, milk protein concentrate, sodium phosphate, and then less than 2% of modified food starch, whey protein concentrate, maltodextrin, whey, salt, calcium phosphate, lactic acid, sorbic acid for preservatives, milk fat, sodium alginate, sodium citrate, enzymes, apocarotinol and annatto for color, cheese culture, vitamin A palmitate. So this is where I just sort of go, this is why I don't feel like it's really food, right? Like canola oil, not my favorite. So this would is a no for me on a lot of reasons. Sodium phosphate is also not a choice ingredient. So sodium phosphate is used as a buffering salt in processed foods. So it stabilizes pH. It can increase the shelf life. Like I said, surprising to me that it would even expire ever. Sodium phosphate is also used in like curing meats and stuff like that too. It thickens food, stabilizes the texture of processed foods. It's like an emulsifier so that things stay mixed together. The FDA considers it generally regarded as safe, right, is what they say. But also, if you have too much, like you can sort of OD on it. People experience vomiting, headaches, reduced urine output, bloating, abdominal pain, dizziness, irregular heartbeat, and maybe even seizures.
Oh, gosh.
And this is one of the ingredients that's like before the less than 2% part. Okay, then the rest of the ingredients in like the 2% part, less than 2%, still not my favorite. Maltodextrin, we've talked about before. It's a sweetener. It's a thickening and stabilizing agent, highly processed additive. It is high glycemic. So while this says 0 grams of sugar were added, it can also, going to this week's episode, it can also negatively impact our gut health. And I can't help but mention the calcium phosphate because lest you think the 230 milligrams of calcium were from the actual milk, they are not. Then there's like 3 or 4 different kinds of sodium in here. They also added milk fat, which is just interesting. And then we've talked about annatto before as a coloring, but it can also be an allergen for a lot of people. So again, just be aware of all those things. And then because curiosity killed the cat, I went to look at the 2% version compared to the original. It has 10 fewer calories, 1 gram less total fat. It has 5 grams of protein instead of 4, which is a very slight improvement, but the sodium is the same, 10 fewer milligrams of calcium. And then this one has 100 milligrams of potassium. The ingredients, by the way, were exactly the same. So do with all of that what you will. It's just an observation. Here's what I can tell you. Where I sit at, like these ingredients, a majority of these ingredients are laboratory made, not offering any nutritional value. Again, go back to the piece that people are unlikely to be eating 1 ounce of this at a time. And this recipe, it was the 32 ounce block that came out of the oven, still a discernible block. You have to pop over to the Instagram and watch it. It's wild. So I couldn't let it go without talking about this food product. I remember being a kid and being shocked, like, what was it? Like Velveeta and shells or something was like the thing when we were kids. I'm shocked it's still being sold, but it just goes to show when you start to read the labels and you know what you're looking at, you get to make more empowered choices. Hannah, I know it's like of all the things that we could be talking about while you're here, but anything you want to add?
I would just say like the first thing that pops up into my head is like, let's get a label of just like what's in real cheese. So like you're getting like organic cheese at the store and what's on the back. It's going to be like enzymes, milk. That's it. I mean, what else is there? Right. And it's just like comparing the two. And I think that's enough. I mean, I feel like you don't even need to know what those other words even mean. It's just like, this is so clearly different, And where, like, is Velveeta? I have never purchased it in my life. So I will say that.
Me either. I don't think I ever.
I don't really know. I mean, I think I've consumed it, but is it refrigerated?
Oh, you only have to refrigerate it once you open the pack.
Right. So it's like cheese that's like not refrigerated. I mean, no.
I have no words. I couldn't let this go. So whatever, here we are. Thank you everybody for indulging me in this conversation. But it's amazing what is available for people to purchase that is sold to us as food.
Yeah. It just really shouldn't be allowed. That's my honest opinion. Like it just should not be allowed. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure it's probably not allowed to be sold in any other country in the world. I don't know that for a fact. I'm making things up. Don't take that as science or fact, everybody.
Yeah. I will say one more comment is I was just in Spain and Portugal. And when I was in Spain, I got ketchup and in the ingredients on the back, like it doesn't have high fructose corn syrup and it has like tomatoes, sugar, vinegar. That's it. Like there's less ingredients. There's no high fructose corn syrup. And that's just like what you get over there. So you just don't have to worry about it as much,
100%.
Yeah.
I know. Well, as always, everybody, I'm your health coach and host, Jen Trepic. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I'm at Jen Trepeck, JenNTrepeck. Website is asaladwithasideoffries.com. Pick your platform, send a message. I want to hear your takeaways, your ideas, your questions. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your health coach. Hannah Aylward, thank you again for joining us.
Yes, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. And friends, if you are not already, join our membership program by going to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries. This shows your support for this podcast, this community, and most importantly, supports your health. You'll get this week's recipe for the zesty lime shrimp and avocado salad. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.